Welcome to another TerranScapes video. The video today showcases a new release piece, the waterfall that you see in front of you, as well as a custom project which I'll show you in a moment. The waterfall here was requested by a customer after seeing the one I had done for the Martian board set that I have up on the store, and wanted it to match the Verdant board set, which is the green flocked modular set. What I decided to do is, rather than just make another one-off piece, I decided to add it to the store as a new release because it's gotten quite a bit of interest in the past, and is a piece that I think more people would appreciate if they saw it in the store. They might not always check the custom work section, and it's certainly a piece I'd like to continuously work on over the next year or so. Mainly, as you've noticed in the past, I've been really interested in improving my water effects, and so this gives me a pretty solid opportunity to continuously push that and expand on my techniques for flowing water, and in this case for falls. A couple things about the piece. First is that the piece is 6 inches high off the base. These are 1.5 inch high sections, and you will notice that there is a bit of a seam where the joins are, where the foam meets, and actually it's pretty difficult to get rid of those, but I used a new technique to, I think, much better effect on this side to remove those seams to some degree, or at least diminish their overall impact. And the new technique, I think I didn't really tap into enough here, and is going to be coming up. These seams, expect these seams to continuously disappear over future iterations. That kind of brings me to one of the points that I made recently in a newsletter. I posted a new newsletter on the TerranScapes site. If you have not been to the TerranScapes website and you have not seen the newsletter section, you might find it useful to take a look at. It's basically a little blog sort of entry that I post maybe once a month or so, giving you an idea of some of the upcoming projects that I'm thinking about, some of the challenges or successes that I've had recently, and gives you just sort of a window into the background of TerranScapes. And one of the things that this sort of represents, and the water effects in general, is what I call quality creep. This piece will go up and will be photographed as it is onto the site, and probably will not be photographed again. Mainly because I just don't have time to reshoot all of the pieces that I do every time I improve them. But I'm constantly improving the pieces, adding more detail, adding better techniques, refining carvings. And so when you see pictures up on the website, particularly for older pieces, you're really looking at something that is the minimal standard that you're going to receive. Expect to get something that's going to look a bit better, and customers have been telling me regularly when they receive their purchases how much more impressive the pieces are in person than when they saw them online. So keep that in mind as you browse the site, and as you think about whether you're interested in a piece or not. So a couple other features about this. So what I've tried to do is I've retained from my previous falls work, adding in a bit of the misty area at the base using some cotton fibers. And I've been working on trying to improve the overall water effect, which I realized I needed to brighten up a little bit to give it that more whitewash appearance. And doing it on the verdant motif allows me to really do a lot more vegetation additions around the sides and around the edges. And because this piece doesn't need to be stacked, I don't have to worry about keeping all the vegetation in the valley, so I could pop up some on the sides and sort of expand this out. In any case, this piece is going to come up on the website within a day or so after you see this video, so I encourage you to come by the website at TerranScapes.com to see the full close-up pictures of this piece, and it will be in isolation. I won't have it connected to the other board sets, but using your imagination, I'm sure you'll be able to extrapolate how this might fit against the sideboard, allowing you to have a really dramatic piece at the middle of the table. I opted for a side section, so this isn't a corner piece. This is just going to go up against any one of the 4 sides, which gives you a little more flexibility in the layout, and also allowed me, I think, a little bit easier to give some width to the mountain, to give it a little bit more realism. It's a little hemmed in when I started to develop it. I started thinking about it in the corner, and I think it was just a little bit hemmed in the corner. But if you really wanted this piece to be in the corner, that's always an option. And so remember that with any TerranScapes products, minor modifications to it are always possible, and I always encourage you, when you look at the site, to keep that in mind and to send questions to me if you have some modifications that you'd like. The second piece I wanted to show you today is a custom project. This completes the Battle of Rob diorama that I've been working on off and on for over probably a year and a half now with another customer. And one of the final pieces that he wanted was a small chapel. This chapel measures a little over, he wanted it to be 2 inches by 3 inches, and I think I went over that by about maybe a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch in each dimension, partly because of the thickness of the walls when I cut it, and partly because I felt like I needed just a little bit more space to have room for the windows, to have room for the bow in the back, and to give it a little bit proportion so I could put a little steeple on top, and so I hope that fits within the size constraints. The customer wanted a yellowish colored stucco and with a sort of Spanish tile roofing, which I've done on the other buildings that accompany this piece. And then I asked him if he wanted some stained glass windows inside, which he did. So I've utilized a sort of hybrid technique. This isn't quite the way I've done it in the bell tower, but basically I've printed out some windows, given them a little bit of a light gloss color, and then inserted them into the openings. The chapel pictures that he sent me, which I want to remind customers is always very helpful. If you have a specific project in mind, please send me some photos, things that you found on the web, pictures of real objects, models that you've seen that you'd like some ideas or techniques replicated from. It's very helpful for me. Anyway, the pictures that he sent showed a fairly non-ornate front with a simple wooden door, and then with a bowed back with a series of windows along the sides. So this is designed to be scaled for 28mm miniatures, but it's a little bit small for 28mm. But he's using flats. Historical miniatures were originally cast in flats, and his table looks amazing from the small pictures that I've seen, I should say. So this works pretty well with those styled figures, and fits in also with the other buildings that I've done in terms of their scale and overall look. So it just gives you a simple idea about a small custom project that could be done, and of course also reminds you that custom projects don't have to be completed in one go, and with some customers there are ongoing projects that require pieces to be added to over time, such as the trench boards, which I showed a video of not too long ago. So if you have any questions about custom work, custom projects, you want to see close-up photos of any of these pieces, you can always go to TerranScapes.com to get some nice close-up photos, to see some of the other custom work that I've done in the past, as well as the complete product line that's in the store. Thanks for viewing. Talk to you later.